Hi, welcome to my new video. I'm doing here something new and I'll explain all about it. But first, if you haven't seen my video, the previous one about my goals for this year and about what I want to do with my projects, go watch that one or watch it after this video because it will make some ideas I'm talking about here more clear. But to sum things up, I just want to make projects that are more story and content driven. So I'll be spending probably most of this year creating things that I came to Japan to create in the first place. So things like settings and characters and stories for hopefully a comic or an animation or a book or something like this. Getting inspired in reality and creating original content. Okay, so here is the premise of this thing that I'm doing right now in this video. I went recently to Jimbocho to just look for art supplies, but I saw that one of the buildings that I was kind of interested in was being demolished. It was a building that contained a shop that I wanted to feature in my previous book, the Tokyo Storefronts, but I couldn't because we were not able to get in contact with the owner of the shop, and it was a small shop selling glasses, and apparently it was a bit of a legendary shop where John Lennon bought his glasses, and it was kind of old and retro and cool looking, and the building itself was one with a nice round window at the top, just a part of a series of interesting buildings looking the same. And I like those buildings because of their retro shape, and every time I walked there I just looked at them and were happy that there were still some in use. And recently on my walk I did backtrack because two of those shops that were supposed to be there were gone. So of course I wanted to sketch a shop like this and paint a shop like this, a glasses shop. And usually what I would do, I would just go to the internet, I would look for some reference photos that someone took. The shop was a bit of a local attraction, so I guess I could find some photos that someone took before it got torn down. And I could also go through the Google Street View history, so I could see how the shop actually looked like a few years before from various angles, and then extrapolate from there, paint the same way as I would do with my Tokyo Storefronts, so from photographic reference. But of course this year I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to use my imagination more. I'm trying to get better at drawing and painting things that don't exist, so I can then be more comfortable in making settings for my various projects like comics or animations. Therefore here I also made up a name, made up a logo, made up the whole design of the shop, making first some really rough sketches and small thumbnails to decide what I want to do in my ideal retro glasses shop. So apart from the top small round window that I used as a starting point for the whole design of the store, all the elements in this picture are just painted and drawn from imagination. Even things like the logos I first made up and then just asked Kana to confirm if I had not done any mistakes in the letters. Of course, I'm not working completely from an empty space. I have a library of parts and a library of shops that I already drew and painted for my Tokyo Storefronts book and also a part of that. So I have some inspiration in my head already that I can use to make my own designs. So it's like drawing a lot of people to then be able to design your own original characters and use them in your own works. I'm not used to this approach, so drawing a shop like this is probably the easiest thing that I can do right now in terms of painting something just from imagination while making it look real enough so you cannot distinguish which one was made from photo reference directly and which one was completely made up. And this is the goal that I want to achieve. If you want to do a story and if you want to convey a certain feeling and if you want to get a certain image of a scene, you probably always have to use something that is original and you have to make things up. Therefore, similar to the skill that I have for painting things that I have reference for, I have to train this muscle that will allow me hopefully to paint things that I have just in my head, but I need them for the story. So here with this shop, I first sketched it really roughly and made a small thumbnail with my pencil just to decide what I want to have in this picture. Then I colored this also roughly on my iPad to decide the colors, as I didn't have any reference for the colors, so I could do anything. Here I decided what more or less materials is this shop made from, where I have tiles, how the windows should look like, how the marquee should look like. Everything was decided from scratch in the first phase, and then I proceeded to make a bigger sketch, trace the lines with a fountain pen, and then paint it with watercolors. Actually, I made a second one of these because I didn't like the colors of the first version, so I quit halfway through. I did some memos of what I don't like, what I would like to do better. The contents itself was more or less the same, but the style of painting was still not there. I decided to redo this painting from scratch. I did the sketch again and the lines again and colored it again with watercolors. I would not do this. Usually I would try to force the picture to look well by adding details and finishing it and maybe editing it digitally a bit. And this is also a habit of mine that I'm trying to fight here, aiming for a better painting with better content. And I'm trying to learn to accept that I will have to spend more time on the concept stage and less on just making things look good. And in the end, even though it was hard for me to just quit and do it again, I'm happy that I did it because the finished picture looks a lot better than the first version. Okay, so this is how it looks. I will be making more of these as a part of this year's learning project. And if you have any ideas for types of Japanese shops that you would like me to imagine and then paint, just write them in the comments. Okay, that's it for this video. As always, feel free to share, comment and subscribe, and you can also support me on Patreon. See you in the next one. Bye!